Hey guys, in today's book to screen, I'm going to be reviewing Divergent, starring Shailene Woodley, Theo James, Ashley Judd, and Kate Winslet. Divergent takes place in a future dystopian post-apocalyptic version of Chicago, where Chicago is divided into 5 different factions based off of virtues. Every year, teenagers have to decide on which faction they want to belong to. This year, it's Beatrice Pryor's turn to make her decision, and she comes to discover that she is in fact divergent. Divergent meaning that she belongs to no one particular faction. Divergence threatens society, and Beatrice must learn to fit in to her new faction and hide her secrets. Before I get going with this review, I am going to say that there's going to be a lot of spoilers in here for both the movie and the first book. So if you've not seen the movie or read the book, then I suggest you turn away. So, my overall impressions. I actually kind of liked the movie. If you watched my book review for Divergent, you might remember that I was just kind of meh with the whole book. It didn't really impress me that much. I just kind of casually enjoyed Divergent. And I just kind of had a lot of issues with the world and the characters. And if you also recall in my book review for Divergent, I even said at the end of the review that I had a feeling I would probably enjoy the movie better than the book. And that was the case. I think why I enjoyed the movie better than the book had a lot to do with the pacing, and I just felt like a lot of things moved along quicker than how they moved in the book. In the book, there's a lot of time spent on Triss, learning how to fight and use weapons and protect herself. And the movie had a lot of that as well, but I felt like the movie did a better job of kind of moving that along and not making it all so lengthy. And I also think the movie in some ways kind of did a better job of setting up this future dystopian world of Chicago. I read the book back in December, I think, early December, and I'm having trouble recalling some elements, but I don't remember the very first page of the book downright explaining this society and how everything runs. And the way the movie opens is Triss is narrating, and she just gives us a basic run-through of what this world is and how it came to be how it is. And apparently there was some sort of war, and everything around Chicago got destroyed, apparently, and now there's some wall that kind of keeps everyone in, and we don't know what's beyond the wall. And Triss also describes all of the factions pretty quickly. And I don't particularly remember, like I said, I don't really remember the book going into that much detail. Correct me if I'm mistaken. If the book did talk about that, it probably overwhelmed me immediately if it did. My issues with the book also were that I didn't quite understand this world, and that's kind of still the case with the movie in some ways. I still don't quite understand this world and kind of why it came to be. We just know that there was a war, and hey, there's a wall right there. You can't go past it. I haven't read books 2 and 3 yet. Maybe this stuff is kind of explained in more detail. I don't know. Overall, I do think just the way Divergent was filmed was really fantastic. Really great cinematography overall. Visually stunning. Nothing looked like it was CGI. And this world really looked like a dystopian society, and I really believed it in the confines of the movie. And what I liked also is that this movie could have easily just went crazy with all the futuristic technology and made ridiculous technology, and I think the technology in the movie was really well done and believable. Okay, so moving on to casting. In general, I thought the casting was pretty great, and I think the acting overall was pretty great. And I don't think there was any weak link at all. So starting off with Triss, obviously, played by Shailene Woodley. This is not my first Shailene Woodley movie. The very first thing that I saw Shailene Woodley in was Felicity, An American Girl. God, how old was she in that? That was that might have been a good 10 years ago, possibly. Maybe, I don't know, maybe it wasn't there 10 years ago. I really adored her in that, and that was the very first thing I saw her in. And then I saw her next in The Descendants, where she starred with George Clooney. And I've never seen her in The Secret Life of American Teenager. So I am familiar with Shailene Woodley's work, at least. And I was pretty excited when the casting first came out, because since I did really like Shailene Woodley, I was like, oh, she should be really great in this, because I know she's an actress who can actually act. I think Shailene Woodley did a fantastic job of kind of developing Triss. I think I liked Triss better in the movie than the book. In the book, she was often just very confusing to me, and I didn't get that confusion out of her in the movie, fortunately. I think Shailene Woodley did a fantastic job of just kind of Triss's, you know, her stamina and how she can fight, and she knows, I think Shailene Woodley understands Triss's weaknesses and strengths, and I think that was really well done in the movie. And then we have Theo James as Four. Ooh, I love Theo James, you guys. Just like Shailene Woodley, I'm already familiar with Theo James's work. I previously saw him in a BBC series called Bedlam, and he was only on the first season of that. And then I saw him on Downton Abbey, and I think that's where most people have seen him, was on the one episode of Downton Abbey that he appeared in. That was the only two things I have seen him in previously, but I knew a little bit of his work, and I knew that he too could act. And I think Theo James did a fantastic job with Four. I can't imagine anyone else as Four. I remember when he was first cast, everyone was so pissed off, and they're like, oh, he's freaking old, and I was like, what? Look at him, he's hot. Who cares how old he is? I guess I didn't care, because I think me and Theo James are the exact same age. I think he's 28, and that's how old I am too, so it didn't bother me that they cast someone my age, because that way I can have the hots for him in the movie and not feel like a weirdo because he's like 15 or something. But yeah, Theo James, wow, he was amazing. The acting was great, I think, and the physicality of Four was really there, and I found him very believable as Four. And I also found the chemistry between Four and Triss very believable. I like how it was done kind of just like the book. In the book, their relationship is very gradual, and they don't have an instant liking for each other, so I like in the movie that they carried that over, that they don't instantly like each other. And then we have Ashley Judd as Triss's mom. I don't really have much to say about that. I think Ashley Judd was just kind of underused in some ways. I think Triss's mom was kind of in the book a tiny bit more than what she was in the movie. And I just think Ashley Judd's character overall was just, she felt thrown in sometimes just to kind of enhance the plot and just throw some new element out at Triss, and sometimes that was kind of a little jagged. But yeah, I think Ashley Judd overall was great for Triss's mom. And then there was Janine, played by Kate Winslet. I think the Janine character had the best improvement upon the book, because in the book Janine is kind of just in a few chapters here and there, barely even in the book. And so in the movie they really enhanced her character, and Kate Winslet was in it a lot, which surprised me, which was really cool because I love Kate Winslet. I consider Kate Winslet to be my top favorite actress of all time. And plus, I have seen most everything Kate Winslet has done except for a couple things here and there. And I don't think I've ever seen Kate Winslet play a villain. Has she ever played a villain? I'm sitting here, I should have looked on her IMDb page before I did this to see all the different movies I've seen her, because I seriously don't think I've ever seen her as such an evil character. And then there was Christina, played by Zoe Kravitz, which was really cool. I think Zoe Kravitz did a fine job with Christina. Christina's kind of one of my other favorite characters in the book. I don't think Christina had that much spunk like she did in the book, but still she was really fantastic. And then we have Eric, played by Jai Courtney, and I thought he was super cool. I didn't really care one way or another about Eric in the book. He just didn't do anything for me in the book, but I think Jai Courtney's performance in the movie just really drew me in better with that character. And I just felt like he was just so menacing, and I really liked that dynamic between Eric and Four. And then we have Mekhi Phifer as Max. Who is Max? Was there even a Max in the book? You got, like I said, I read this book back in December. I can't remember half the characters, and I don't remember a Max. And it's like, why hire Mekhi Phifer if you're going to only have him in the movie for like a grand total of 5 minutes? It's like they did nothing with Mekhi Phifer. They could have easily just used some other random character whenever Mekhi Phifer's character was on screen. And then last we have Will and Al. I've seen a lot of other reviews for the movie, and most everyone says they could not tell Will and Al apart, and I have to totally agree. I can't even begin to tell you which one was Will and which was Al. I only was able to tell them apart whenever someone physically mentioned them by name. And I think this was a very negative thing for the movie. One of the things I was most disappointed in was the whole Will and Al thing. Al is a very important character in the book. He has a very interesting relationship with Tris and just a really interesting friendship. And he kind of ends up ruining that friendship because he starts to kind of get a little paranoid and afraid, and he wants to kind of improve himself and kind of act better than what he really is. And so he tries to hurt Tris with a group of guys. And Tris finds out that's Al who's in on it, and she gets really mad at him, rightly so. And she hurts his feelings, and then he goes and commits suicide. So in the book, I think that was just really well done and much more emotional. And in the movie, you know, since I couldn't tell which one was Al and which one was Will, that emotion wasn't there at all. When Tris has to kill Will at the end of the movie, you know, the two of them also have a very interesting relationship in the book. And then in the movie, there's just no emotion there when she has to kill him. And I think there was much more better emotion in the book than the movie. So that's it for this review of the Divergent movie. Have you guys seen the movie? Did you like it? Did you hate it? Overall, I pretty much enjoyed it. It was just fun. It was a nice movie just to eat some popcorn with. And overall, I guess I was entertained. I think I was much more entertained with the movie than the book, honestly. So don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you liked this book to screen, you may like these. Bye, guys.